Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 8, The Reunion, Part 1. So let's get to it, shall we? Alright, you guys, so another reunion with all the girls. All the girls except for Nene. I guess they're going to surprise us with her. Fake surprise us with her on the second part. Anyway, regular reunion fare, nothing different than what they ever do. We did get a little before the show start, behind the scenes stuff at the beginning, you know, them getting their makeup done, hair done, okay, prayers, make sure that there's no fool of fucking niggatry that ensues, which always does. But yeah, just a regular reunion. I thought everybody looked really good. Real Housewives of Atlanta, the ladies usually look very good on the reunion. We even had Kim, who decided to change it up. I thought that even she looked nice. Her hair, you know, but I still felt like she looked nice. I think everyone, let's see, out of everybody who I thought looked the best, of course, I am going to say Portia. Portia always kills it for me. Kenya looked really pretty as well. Cynthia, they all looked really nice. Didn't you think they looked pretty good? And I guess the memo was for them to wear like muted colors and dusty, light, maybe pastels or whatever. You know, they were all in the same family. Who was you guys' best and who was your worst? I really couldn't see a worst, but if I guess I'm going to say a worst, I guess it would say Kim, but like I said, I thought Kim looked nice too. They all looked good. Andy is our host. He's real comfortable with these girls, and he's shady as the rest of them, so he fits in well. The setup on the seat, so we had Kenya sitting next to Andy on his right, then next to her was Cynthia, then next to Cynthia was Candy, and then on Andy's left, it was Portia, Phaedra, then Kim. I was like, interesting, that setup, the way they had Portia sitting right now. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I would have thought that they would have put Candy there, but then I guess they know that they're going to move Portia over when Nene gets there. And I guess Candy wasn't a big topic this season, but Candy definitely is a money maker for Real Housewives of Atlanta, so yeah, I was surprised, but I guess that's why they had Portia sitting there. Portia don't really, she ain't really earned the spot right next to Andy. You guys know it's all political on that couch. Okay, so where did they start? Talked about the shade. Like I said, they're all quite shady. I guess if we were going to say who is the most shady of the show is Phaedra. Phaedra's always won that title. Always had her sly, slick little digs when she has her one-on-ones. Phaedra and Kenya very quickly got into a little confrontation about, Kenya feeling like Phaedra was picking on her looks because she called her dark skin or something like that. Phaedra was like, no, I wasn't talking about your looks. I think you're very pretty. I was talking about your skin. Your skin is fucked up. I was like, ooh. It was real fast. Like, it was a real fast fight. For the most part, Kenya and Phaedra have stayed out of each other's way for this season. So I was just like, oh, I guess Kenya said she coming for everybody's neck. They talked about Kenya's party, how there was water in the products. Kenya did admit that there was water sitting out for the displays, but everybody got gift bags with real product in it. And bitch, if you had a problem with it, go on and buy that shit at CVS, which will be in stores in the next 6 months. Then you can see if the shit is full of water. How about that? Then they talked about Candy's new baby, Ace Wells Tucker. Nothing with that. Todd came out, talked about how stressful it was to get the restaurant going. Cynthia was right. Wait till you guys get that shit off the ground. Todd done moved his ass out to New York and let Candy stay down here and be like, you run that damn shit, just like Cynthia and Peter. Then we moved on to She by Sheree, Slay by Sheree. Sheree looked really good as well. Sheree has done very well this season, looking good, okay? But Sheree has always looked good. To me, I think she's always represented herself well. They asked her how it was being back, and she said that it was good. It was good being back, to reconnect with some girls, to meet the new girls. Oh, speaking of meeting the new girls, how did you feel your first impression of Kenya was? How did that go? And she was just like, well, didn't really think she would come for me the way she did. We remember how Sheree and Kenya got into it right away, and it was just like, huh? Yeah, Kenya did kind of come for her. And I think she realized that she was coming on a little too strong, because she backed off immediately. Maybe because she got sidetracked with Kim. Decided that would be a bigger name to get into it with. Got to ensure the storyline, right? Even though she got into it with Sheree, quickly apologized that they moved on. And then, of course, the ongoing joke was Chateau by Sheree and More Mansion. And which one? No, not More Mansion. Manor. More Manor. And Manor, whatever. It was more manner. And, you know, they had that bet going that one of them would be in before Christmas. Neither one of them are in it yet. They said they'll talk about that. I guess we'll get more into that as the reunion goes. Then we moved on to Kim. Kim, how did you feel about your first season here? Dealing with the girls and all of the bullshit that comes with it. They asked her if they thought she was a fit for the show. And she said, you know, she doesn't know if she is an exact fit for the show, but she definitely was entertained. It was an interesting season for her. I guess they popped that bitch cherry on Kim, honey, because, you know, she came in one way and she's just a little bit different. She didn't lose herself in the show, though. Definitely didn't do that. But she is not the Kim that came on, you know, episode 1, season 8. They asked the girls what they thought about, you know, whether or not she's a good fit. So let's go down the list, okay? Kenya says she wasn't because she's condescending and she talks down to all the girls. I guess that's the same thing, right? Candy says she doesn't like to confront people and this group of girls are very confrontational. Phaedra said she doesn't really involve herself. She likes to separate herself from the group. Portia said that she is quite judgeful. She's judgy. Cynthia said that it's not that she's really judgy. She's just uncomfortable. She's not really comfortable with the way that these girls work. So, you know. Kim says no. All of that, you guys say. You know, people don't realize that she's shy. Maybe it comes off a different way. People think of her a certain way. I think probably because her characters, all the characters that she's played over the years that we know have all been quite, you know, in your face or quite bold, quite confident. And Kim, the real life Kim Fields, might be different than that. When they brought up the subject of DC and, you know, her bringing her kids, Andy did ask her earlier, did she bring her kids? And she was just like, no, because I didn't want to hear nobody's mouth. I was like, girl, you didn't need to bring no kids to the reunion anyway. I know that's a long ass day. Everybody always says that that day is a full day of them recording. So yeah, the kids didn't need to be there. As far as DC goes, you know, I still kind of feel like I can see both sides. So Kim said that it was kind of presented to her that it was going to be for, you know, something, a learning experience for the kids. I think she probably didn't realize that they were going to be doing all these meetings and luncheons and all that. And I thought maybe she thought that they were just going to go to the march and, you know, they'd be out with their sun hats on and listening to the speeches and being out in the open atmosphere with the park and everything. That's not how it went. We all saw her kids had a total meltdown. And because of it, she had one as well. She's not, you know, used to handling the kids by herself. Plus it was, you know, pretty heavy topic. Sheree was really quite vocal. Like, you know, why would you bring the kids? And why didn't you have a babysitter? And, you know, kind of pinning her to the walls like, Sheree, okay. Why are you this concerned? But, you know, I guess Sheree was like, shit, I'm just going to jump in on this too. Shit, bitch trying to get her a peach for next season. I hope they give her one. Then, you guys, you know, the big talk of the night was definitely Phaedra and Candy's issues. Now, this feels like it's the 3rd season that, you know, we talking about their problems with each other. Somebody said on Twitter that it was only the 2nd reunion that we dwelt on Candy and Phaedra's issues, but I'm just like, oh, but you know, someone else reminded me how long they dragged on the Apollo, Kenya, and Phaedra mess. So, I mean, I guess it's just going to keep on going on and on and on. How many times I have to tell you guys that these two will never be friends like they were? And the main reason is because the show just continues to open old wounds and never lets anything heal. By the time they get to the reunion, they had the whole bullshit of the season to deal with. They have the summer, they try to work it out. And then, of course, all of us, people, viewers, social media, okay, and even the show, they remind each other, they remind them of all of the drama and the problems that they have, and they just can never get over it. So like Candy said, she was just like, you know, we just like, you know, we really want to be friends, but we don't know like how to do it. They can't figure out how to bridge the gap. And it's unfortunate, but as long as the show is on, I feel like I don't think that they will be friends. Not like that. Andy asked Candy if there were any things during the show that pissed her off, and she was just like, what? Lots of things. First of all, I don't give my husband an allowance, so don't come for my husband in that way. I'm very protective, obviously. Candy then goes on to say that Phaedra and her, you know, she felt like they were real friends, not just TV friends, and, you know, that Phaedra hit under the belt when she would do her shady thing. She would say shit that Candy, being her friend, if, you know, if the roles were reversed, Candy wouldn't say certain things about Phaedra because they had a real friendship there, and it's not just for a cute soundbite or, you know, to get the title of Shade Queen or whatever. When Andy asked Phaedra, did she feel like she hit below the belt? She said no, she didn't feel like she did. But she did. She did it plenty of times. We all pointed out how she said some old foul ass shit about Kandi and Todd. Whether or not it's true, if you consider yourself to be a friend that's trying to correct a problem or trying to mend a relationship, you know, some of the shit that she said, she just should not have said. And definitely, I can see how that would rub Kandi the wrong way. Then, of course, like I said, they asked people to write in letters and people ask them questions. Why are you letting her visit you in the hospital? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, Phaedra got real defensive, you know, because she felt like she was going through a real tumultuous time with her divorce and Kandi wasn't there for her. Okay, the only person that she felt was there for her was Nene and Portia. I feel like that's a continuous stab at Kandi, even though we've all decided that Kandi was going through quite a bit at the same time as well. It's different, but she was going through a lot as well. And I mean, the phone works both ways and everybody can call each other when there's problems. Just all boils down to who's going to be so much in their feelings that they don't understand that the other person has other shit going on too, and just kind of giving them a break. Well, I'm going to let them deal with their thing. I'm going to deal with my shit over here. You know, we always going to be here for each other, but this is just kind of how Kandi and Phaedra dealt with it. Both of them very hurt that the other one never reached out. Then, of course, we talk about Apollo's stuff at Kandi and Cynthia's house. They made a bigger deal of it being at Candi's house, but the shit was also at Cynthia's house. Now that I get like a full story of it, you know, they were like, Apollo's shit has been at their houses before he even got in trouble because they did not have a lot of storage space at Phaedra's house. That's something that never ever gets put into the equation. So his stuff was there, he got in trouble, and his stuff was still there. They didn't know that Phaedra did not know that his stuff was there. I kind of feel like Phaedra is acting like she didn't know that his stuff. She might not have known exactly where everything was, but she knew that the shit wasn't at her house. So where does she, you know? So I'm just feeling like Phaedra is trying to, she's kind of acting like she's the victim in it, because even Kandi was just like, it was never a secret. I had no idea that she didn't know that his stuff was at my house. And I believe that. Sometimes things happen through couples. You just go, yeah, I mean, you know, you just feel like your husband done handled it and whatever, you ain't gonna worry about it. He got his friends, he moved the shit over somebody else's house and it's out of your face and that's all you worry about. So in that case, it wasn't a matter of Kandi and Cynthia trying to hide the shit, and that maybe even we as viewers have turned it into something like that. What's the big deal? The shit is gone, it was taken. Kandi and Todd didn't go to jail. I mean, everybody act like the feds coming to their house meaning that they was in trouble. Pick the shit up, take it, and that's it. Then we talk about the Candy Coated Clique. More specifically, the confrontation that Don Juan had with Phaedra, Portia, and Shamia, is that her name? We already talked about how foolish all of that was and how I felt like Don took it way too far. Now they're saying, you know, now Kandi is saying that they edited a whole lot out of the show and that they were talking about the music and talking about the video and saying a lot of negative things, and that's why it got turned up so fast. Regardless, all we saw was the part where Don Juan was, you know, fussing at them or really making it bigger than it was about about them talking about Kandi. And then I guess them also coming real hard for Portia at the party, that other party that I don't even remember what party that was, but Portia was just like, Don Juan just wanted camera time. You know, he was just doing way too much. These are my friends in real life, so my friends go hard for me and I go hard for them. You guys have to understand the relationship Kandi and her friends, like, you know, they love Kandi and they gonna protect her to the end, even though Don Juan had his old shady ass shit to say about Todd and all. I guess he was like, shit, I can talk about the nigga, but none of y'all can talk about him. We got on the subject of the damn video, and Phaedra was like, you know, Todd was in the room talking about me to Peter. Now y'all mad at me talking about them, but they talked about me. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. It's just sort of just like, well, whatever. They ain't friends, y'all. It's done. It's a wrap on that friendship. I wish everybody would just figure it out. They try to throw Kenya in the mix, ask Portia would she really have beat up Kandi because, you know, Kenya said, you know, I hope they all have their insurance. Portia was just like, no, I would never hit Kandi. Rightfully so, compared when Phaedra and Kenya got into it at their reunion and Kenya said that she would knock all her teeth out. It's the same thing. I don't know how she could say she would do something to a pregnant lady on stage, then try to say that I would be be the person to beat up Candy. Of course, Kenya was just like, it's not the same. I've never put my hands on anybody up here. It's not the same situation. It is the same situation. Whether you say it or do it. Okay, the threat is there. And Portia didn't beat up nobody that's pregnant. Portia pulled your damn hair. You know, so Kenya... she was special last night, wasn't she? Then we get back to Kenya and Kim. Andy said, you know, Kim, what did you think about acting, you know, Kenya's acting and all that? And Kim was just like, I said from the very beginning that she, you know, her show had potential. You know, she's a pretty girl. She was able to go places comedically that a lot of pretty women won't do. And I felt like it had the potential. We could have worked out something, but you know, immediately we started off on a bad foot and we ain't never been able to gain our steps. So there's no sense in us trying to work it out when we don't even like each other. Kenya starts up with the comparing of the careers and, you know, says that she's had a career that spanned 30 years as well. You know, she's not trying to say that Kim is better than her. She's not trying to say that she's better than Kim. I said, girl, you is not going to sit here and tell us that these few little movies that went to, you know, immediately to Blockbuster, that we was gonna compare your career to Kim's. Now, granted, you've done what you've done and you've made your money and you acted and, you know, all of that. And people remember you and some of the shit that they've seen you in plays and whatnot. It is not the same. You're not weekly in somebody's home, a national TV that we were watching as we grew up over the years from, you know, Different Strokes of Facts of Life. I mean, we saw her on Good Times once, y'all. And then for her to come all the way up to Living Single and even go on to direct shit, it's not the same. So, you know, I'm sorry. People gonna say, you know, well, that don't take nothing from Kenya. It don't take nothing from Kenya, but it's not the same thing. And Kenya is determined to try to get us to believe, force feed us the fact that, you know, she doing the same thing as Kim. Girl, please. I'm sorry, you're not. She said that Kim is the lowest man on the totem pole and she trying to come for her check. I said, is Kim really trying to take Kenya's place on the show? Did anybody else get that impression? You know, Portia was just like, we paying her? Because if somebody was supposed to be paying somebody, didn't nobody even tell me that we were supposed to be doing that. I was just like, what is she talking about? She coming for my check. I mean, I took that to believe that she felt like Kim was trying to take the top spot on the show. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Kenya, bitch, you're not even a top spot on the show once Nene brings her ass back. And she will be back next season, bitch. Then they asked her about the confrontation that Kenya had with Kim and Cynthia out in Jamaica. They said again that that's the kind of shit that starts, you know, bitches getting their ass beat. It's just the whole fact of you being in somebody's personal space. When Andy was just like, it's the same way that you did at the reunion. It was sort of the same with you and Kim. And, you know, Kenya, of course, I don't see it that way. She don't never see it that way. And it's her fault. But she did say, well, I did, you know, apologize to Cynthia because Cynthia said I told her on and off camera that she was out of line for doing that. I don't know if we really saw her say it at the time. And Cynthia said she didn't say it at the time on camera because she felt like Kim was handling it well. But Kim wasn't really handling, I mean, Kim was kind of just, you could see, even Kim admitted, when she jumped up, it was a point where she almost wanted to hit Kenya. Okay, that kind of shit is when somebody that pushes you all the way. Okay, everybody has their breaking point, like Kenya said. You know that. You push Kim all the way there because what you wanted her to do was to do something to you. So then you could cry all next season about what she did and how she's violent and how she... Okay? And Kim had to bring it back. Like, wait a minute now. Girl, you can't go there like this. But Kenya was trying to take it there. Even Portia was just like, why would you push somebody to that point? It wasn't even that serious. What it all boils down to is personal space. Like Cynthia said. You be all up in a bitch face and I gotta kick you in the pussy. And that's true. Everybody needs to learn how to stay out of each other's faces. Yes, we don't condone violence. But bitch, if you gonna be up in my face and with all the yep, you best expect that there might be a physical reaction. Just because you can control yourself don't mean the person that you trying to, you know, take there, antagonize, is not going to react. They ain't gonna react the way you want them to. Bitch, we might fuck your ass up. People need to learn that you can't control the outcome of shit when it's another person involved. You always got the other factor of how they gonna react. Again, we start up on the Kim is being condescending. She puts down the group. At one time when she was just like, I'm Kim Fields. Bitch, what the fuck? I'm out here fighting with you. And I think she had every right to say that. Half of them, we didn't even know who the fuck they were until they got on this show. With the exception of Candy, Kenya, Okay, but we didn't know Cynthia as a whole. We didn't know Cynthia. We didn't know Sheree. We definitely didn't know Nene or Kim. Didn't know Phaedra. So yeah, she had the right to fucking say I'm Kim Fields. Kenya took that as her putting the group down. Candy was just like, well, yes, I kind of felt like it was a cocky moment, but you know, sometimes I wish you would just boss up and just say certain things. So when she was just like, I'm Kim Fields, I was like, all right, well, go ahead then, Kim Fields. So you take shit in context. Kim said that because she had to remember all of the shit that she's accomplished. Me being Kim Fields and up here fighting with some old unknown bitches other than for this show, just for a few minutes of camera time, like, no, I don't need to go there. So Kenya, again, she's trying to wrap it up and make it seem like Kim was a certain way. I mean, definitely Kim has her ways. I have said the whole time that I don't want her to be on the show. I don't feel like she's a good fit for the show either. I feel like Kim has done some changing, and I think that if she comes back next season, which I'm pretty sure that she will be different. I knew that this show was going to change her. I told you guys that at the beginning. Still very sweet, but she ain't going to be quite the Kim that, you know, allowed everybody to run her ass over. But it's a learning curve. You know, once you come on these reality shows, you got to learn real fast, and bitch, you can't be, you know, just regular old Kim on the street. You got to get with the rest of them. So that's it, you guys. That is it. They got to arguing. I thought it was really funny when, you know, Kim tried to shut Kenya up. Okay, just like, don't say another word, because Kenya does interrupt all the time and talks over people. Kim was just like, you don't get to do that. And when she kept on doing it, she was just like, say another thing. And then Sheree was just like, oh, what else? What's gonna happen? Because bitch, I want to see it too. I was cracking up. Kenya, what's gonna happen, Kim? I'm saying another word. What now? Oh, I wanted somebody to bust Kenya's ass in her fucking nose. I like Kenya for the entertainment that she can be on the show, but the bitch is a bitch. Okay, a bitch. It's just hard. She takes a lot out of you. I guess because the season was so boring, they have to bring it in the reunion. And I guess for part 1, they brought it, don't you think? Alright, you guys, so that's it. Still got to do Potomac. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.